Today I'm talking about when you feel stuck, or not even so much stuck, more specifically when you're in recovery and you think you're not anymore, meaning like you think you've made it because you've restored your weight, or because you're in a normal BMI range now, or because no one's on your back anymore. And you are feeling confused because you still feel mentally trapped. And you're debating or trying to work out in your head what to do at this point, because you don't want to gain any more weight. You're at a place where you thought you should have been fully recovered in terms of weight, and you're recognizing or realizing as time is going on that your brain is still totally disordered. And you can spend, and I've seen clients spend months and years in this place, refusing to allow their bodies to go beyond what they thought it needed to go, not beyond where it needs to go, but beyond where they deemed as acceptable for it to go. And so they try 1,000,001 different ways to stop the mental restriction and to ignore the food rules that they're still listening to, or allow them to not affect them. But like I said, with time, it just keeps getting more and more annoying, and it gets more and more loud, and you become more and more vulnerable to fully relapsing back to a place that you are not functioning well, and your eating disorder is taking everything from you again. And so is this quasi-recovery, this state that I'm talking about? I suppose so. I suppose you can consider that. I'm not so concerned about what the title of that is, but this is an area that I see a lot of people get stuck in. I have several clients right now who are in this position where it's like, oh my gosh, like I came this far, and it was very painful every step of the way for me to even allow this to happen in terms of weight gain. And now I'm realizing that my brain, in order for me to fully rewire, still has a lot more potentially to gain, or not a lot more. We don't know. Who knows, right? Sometimes people will ask me, well, if I go all the way and I finish this rewiring process, like how much more do you think I'll gain? I'm like, I have no idea. Like I honestly have no idea, and I could never answer that. But the focus is needing to be shifted from that fear of weight gain and putting all of your energy and all of your focus into what are the things that you're still doing, behaviors and thoughts that are still eating disordered, and then going after them with aggression and really bold, just as much as you did on day one. And I feel like I've done so many videos on this topic, and there's a reason why, and it's because it is so pervasive. It is so pervasive in recovery. It is so common for people to get stuck in a rut, to get stuck in this place where they will convince themselves for years that they're fine because they've gained some weight, because they've broken a lot of eating disordered rules, and things are much better, and they have a lot more freedom in their life. But they know deep down inside, and this is where people reach out to me for the first time sometimes at that point, where it's like, I've done all the work. I feel like I've done all the work. I feel like I've gained a bunch of weight. I feel like I've broken down almost all of my rules, but I still just feel mentally trapped. And so you have to accept the fact that this is a problem. Respect the fact that you do indeed want to get to full recovery, and that you do deserve full recovery. Don't settle, don't stop just because you're scared. I got to that point in my own recovery where it was like, okay, shouldn't this be good enough? Like, I'm gaining a bunch of weight. Why is my brain still messed up? And I had to make that deliberate decision. I'm going to be brave. I'm going to go all the way, and I'm going to see what happens. Was that overshoot for me? Some of that ended up being overshoot, right? But I didn't know that at the time, because I knew I couldn't really dwell on that and focus on that and rely on the fact that, well, if I'm certain and there's a guarantee that this is overshoot, then I can do it. That's a very dangerous way of thinking, right? I had to go in it going, I don't know. I have no idea what's going to happen, but I'm going to go there, and I'm going to free up my mind from this eating disorder. Whatever happens is what happens. And as you do that, the cool thing that happens as you do that is you start experiencing even more benefits. You've probably experienced a lot up to the point at where you're at now in terms of freedom and spontaneity and being able to join in life. But you're going to experience like that thing that you've been desiring the most, that full, total mental freedom. You'll start experiencing that more and more. And once you get to that point, that's where like That's where the treasure lies. Like, that's where you feel like, okay, I don't want to jeopardize losing this. And you start caring less and less about your body changing. You care less and less about the weight gain that is happening. I feel like almost always, in order to complete and like completely ensure that you've rewired everything, you do have to be willing to go beyond what you thought you should be, not knowing if that's overshoot or not. And I can't emphasize this point enough and how important it is. And I hope that my clients that are struggling with this exact topic are listening to this and are going to take this to heart and be brave and go that extra mile. You might feel like a quote unquote overachiever, but overachieving will get you fully recovered. Okay. It's interesting because people with eating disorders tend to like to be productive and successful and push themselves. Again, this is somewhat of a stereotype, but it's kind of a lot of what I see. And given any project or task, you're going to overachieve. You're going to go for it. You're going to jump on it. You're going to get it done no matter how much time or energy it takes. You don't want to let X, Y, and Z or whoever gave you this assignment down. You kind of expect the best from yourself. But then when you're in recovery and it's like, I don't know, I'm afraid I'm doing this too fast, or I'm afraid if I eat more, I'm going to be like overdoing it. And it's like, oh, you mean like actually recovering, right? It's interesting how in eating disorders, like all the really positive qualities and traits about yourself kind of get squashed, and everything becomes about creating a deficit and staying in a deficit. And restricting and feeling like you're in control and really you're not. So look at this as like a school project. Look at this as, I don't know, something that you know needs to get done. Are you going to drag your feet, stall, do things intentionally wrong so you have to go back and do them again? No, you never do that, right? You never do that. You'd be efficient as you possibly could and you'd get it done. So do that in your own recovery. And then with that, be really brave and open up your mind to and accept the fact that in order to fully rewire, you will probably have to go beyond where you thought your body weight should be. And in doing so, that fear of weight gain will come down, because in that process, you will experience full mental freedom. And that is a good feeling to have. And that makes it really easy to want to stay there. So best of luck. Have a good day.